Hall of Famer, 17 NFL seasons. Steelers, Ravens, Raiders, 49ers, our friend, FS1 NFL analyst Rod Woodson. You did I just loved the last 4 days, college and pro. You watch any college football too?
Sporadically.
The big games.
The big ones.
You did the Cowboy-Washington game for Westwood 1. What are your interpretations of what you saw with Dallas?
Oh, well, first, their defense is really good.
Yeah.
A lot better than I thought they could be this year. Those guys are playing really good football. They're getting turnovers or stopping the run. Van Der Esch, that guy, he could play. He's a baller. That guy from Boise State,
he looks like Brian Urlacher. Remember Brian Urlacher broke in, and none of us watched him in college.
Right.
And we're like, who's this big athletic guy? And that's what Van Der Esch looks like from Idaho.
They have players all over the place.
What do you make of Amari Cooper?
What I love about Coop, if you go back and look at, what is one team's trash, and not saying he's a trash player, but the Oakland Raiders didn't think he fit into their system, is another team's treasure. I thought it was a good taking that pick, the first-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys. I thought it was a great idea for the Jerry Jones, just for the fact that he can play. And I think we can see that he can play now. The difference is since Amari Cooper's been with the Dallas Cowboys, they went from pass yards like 28th to like 15th.
Yeah.
Pass touchdowns went like 29th to like 15th.
They're not great, but
they're not great. They went from third down like tied 28th or 29th to like 10th. So everything since he's been there has been a lot better. And what is a little interesting is Dak seems like he's a little bit more comfortable since he's there. And I don't know why, because it's just one receiver, but he's a little bit more comfortable throwing to him because he does create space.
He does. He separates. He looks like a first-round receiver.
He creates space, and then he's throwing the ball to him. That throw he had in the seam where all three DBs for the Washington Redskins couldn't make a play, and the Coop just outran everybody. Those type of plays he didn't throw. He didn't throw to guys like that and that were covered like that. He waited for them to be open, where now he's believing that he's going to make these plays. And then Beasley and Gallup, who's coming to his own, the rookie from Colorado State.
Yeah.
They have players, and we know how good Zeke is. So the players are all there, and Dak is just starting to get his playmakers the ball in space, and they're playing really good football.
Yeah. So, I've said through the years on Aaron Rodgers, I'm not denying his greatness, but I do sense that his brother calls him out. He's had family members, former players, that he's not easy. And by the way, not all quarterbacks are. I had a guy tell me one time, Howie Long always jokes about this. He said, you can't have two quarterbacks in the same room. When a quarterback walks in the room, he's got to be the man. You can't have two of them. You get two of them in the same room, it's a weird vibe.
Right.
And he always jokes about that. But there is something about Aaron. I am seeing relationships, turbulent, fissures. It's something, right? Like the longer he's in Green Bay, the worse these things. They're 1-9, last 10 on the road. It can't all be everybody else's fault.
Well, do you blame Aaron Rodgers or do you blame the coaching staff? When I look at Aaron Rodgers is a very confident player.
Yes.
And sometimes you can confuse confidence with arrogance. Because when I played in the National Football League, I was very confident. And you can ask my wife, she thought I was very arrogant. And maybe it came across to some people as being arrogant, but I believed in who I was. And I think Aaron's the same way. Does he have some family issues? Yeah, we all have stories. But when I look at the Green Bay Packers, if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to win. Now, I believe Mike McCarthy has to do more for him, and I don't know if it's Mike McCarthy because this is a very simple offense, simplistic offense. It's a static offense.
Yeah, that's why I hear from every player in the league that knows football says the same thing. It's pretty pedestrian for Aaron.
They don't move, no motioning. They do some speed sweeps and all that stuff, the new trend in the National Football League, but very rare. And it's static. It's 2x2 sets, and let's let him do his thing. Mike McCarthy's the head coach, and if he thought that changing the offense was better suited to help the football team win games, then he should implement that. I don't think he does. I think he's going to and you got to let you have to let your individual players bring their own uniqueness into the system that they're in. which I think he's done. But I just believe that the head coach has to do more for the football team to get them to win football games. It can't just be predicated on Aaron Rodgers slinging the rock all over the place. He has to have 4 touchdowns, 350 yards, or they're not going to lose.
Yeah.
That's unfair to that individual player because this is the ultimate team sport. This is not basketball where you can have one stud and you can win a Super Bowl or win a championship. This is winning Super Bowls. You have to have multiple players at multiple levels to be good enough to make plays throughout the game to win games. And Aaron Rodgers right now is the only player in Green Bay, and even though he's not playing to the level that we've seen him play at the past, he's not playing terrible football.
No. I call them my Bore 4. My 4 favorite quarterbacks in this league all have the same personality. They're boring. It's Brady, it's Andrew Luck, it's Russell Wilson, and it's Drew Brees. They're not that quotable. They kind of talk in cliches. One has a neck beard. They're not cool. They're not hip. They're not really fashionable. I call them my Bore 4. Cam's stylish and exciting. And Aaron Rodgers is kind of cocky in the arm. There's a lot of guys that are exciting. And Baker Mayfield is just chatty. I didn't like what Baker did yesterday after the game, calling out Hugh Jackson. It's just not, I always say, I like my presidents to be presidential. That's why the current guy wears me out. I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbackial. I don't like what Baker did. I don't like what Baker did yesterday. Yeah. I don't like calling out Hugh Jackson. How's it sit with you?
I don't like it at all. How hypocritical is this? Think about it. Baker Mayfield is at Texas Tech. He chooses to leave Texas Tech to go to where? Oklahoma. Who do they play? They play Texas Tech. You can't say that you. And then Hugh Jackson, what's happened? Hugh didn't choose to leave.
Got fired.
They fired him, and then the Cincinnati Bengals offered him a job.
His buddy, Marvin Lewis's buddy.
Right? Do you turn him down? So this is what Baker is saying. In 10 years down the road, Baker, when they think that you don't have it anymore, and you have to go to another team and say, let's say the Baltimore Ravens are the only team that's going to offer you a contract.
Right.
You don't take it because it's against another team, and then your boy should shun you if you do take it? That's crazy. I think 2 things. It was immature, which he will grow up. But you can't look at the world one-sided.
It's funny. I just thinking about this, Rod. You were a Steeler than a Raven. And at the time, it was the biggest rivalry in football.
And think about me going there and my boys didn't like me anymore. Carnell Lake, Greg Lloyd, they turned their backs on me. We hugged it up before the game. We hugged it up after the game. We talked to each other as soon as the games are over. I mean, life is too short. First of all, it's a game. You can't take it that serious. I do want to be a competitor. I understand that about Baker. But to throw the shade on Hugh and saying you shouldn't have done it is just ridiculous.
By the way, I got to tell you, I didn't think Lamar Jackson was ready to play. But could I make this argument? That he brings a certain energy to the locker room. Michael Vick had a little bit of this. I think Tebow had a little bit of this. There are certain young players that bring a juice or an energy, and they may not be perfect players, but Flacco's not perfect. Flacco is inaccurate. In a world where everybody's completing 68%, Flacco's at 60. I'll just make the argument that Flacco may be better at some stuff than Lamar, but he's not bringing the juice to that locker room like Lamar is. I would stick with Lamar Jackson.
I'm right there with you, Colin. I am right there with you. I believe that the future is now. I go back to quarterbacks. I look at a lot of players across the board. I'm the same thing with Eli. Good things come to an end. Yeah. I think sooner or later you have to move on. And Joe Flacco got him in the Super Bowl. He played well in that span frame that they won the Super Bowl. But he hasn't played great after that.
No, he's had 4 bad years.
And they moved back up in the first round for a reason. Is Lamar Jackson, was he inaccurate? Is he inconsistent right now, throwing the football down the field? Yes. But the one thing I do love about it is that when everything comes down to it, he finds what's comfortable to him. That's running the football. And Marty Morningwig found out in the second half, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this guy some plays outside of the pocket, let him have that option to run the football, and he did a great job with it. So I think the future is now. I think Jim Harbaugh, maybe he can hold off not being there anymore and being on the hot seat by playing this young quarterback. This defense is solid. Get the quarterback that can run the football, and it really becomes like Carolina Panthers. Because when Cam Newton, even though they lost to Seattle, when Cam Newton is running the football along with McCaffrey, they're a better football team.
They were a better team yesterday. Yeah, Cam actually likes the ball. Like, it's like on 3rd and 2, give Cam the ball, let him run.
And I can see the same thing with Lamar and that running game and this football team finding some youth and some different energy for the football team for the future.
Rod Woodson, is he doing that Westwood One stuff a lot?
I have 7 games with him. It's fun, though.
Oh, no. When you get to go to the stadium and you sit up there in the perch and you can watch the defense like you watch the Dallas Cowboys, you can really see what you really get to see is the speed of certain players. Like, television doesn't owe it. You know, in a television game, the safety's not even in the picture when the ball's snapped.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to a game and you sit there upstairs and you can see the alignments and how players close and other players.
And you get to see great players for the first time. Like, I called the 49ers and the New York Giants game.
Right.
And that was the first time I got to see Odell in person.
Now, you know Odell.
I know Odell. We got to talk before the game, but to see him, to see Barkley in person, those guys are the real deal.
Oh, no, they're great players. That's why you got about 4 more years of both in their prime. Saquon's going to take too many hits. It's like pitchers. You can't pitch him 250 innings. Saquon's going to take too many hits. You give him 4 more years in his total prime. And Odell Beckham is kind of a fragile, smaller player. Got about 4 more years before the dings add up. You got to get him a quarterback. You got to get him the guy.
Hey, listen, you thank Eli for what he's done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, great job. You got us 2 Super Bowls. We thank you. But we have to find a guy to get this guy the football, because even in that game, he beat the snuts out of the corners off the line. Yeah.